What's going on, everybody? What is going on? It is Friday, November 3rd, 2023, the first Friday of the month, the first live stream of the month. Shout out to everybody who is here so far in the chat. Shout out to all of my patrons on Patreon. Shout out to all the members on the channel. Shout out to everybody who follows me on different social media platforms, whether that's X, Instagram. Shout out to everybody in the Discord. And shout out to everybody who was here so far in the chat. Let's see, who do we have in here so far? Of course, make sure y'all go ahead and hit that like button as well. We got DeMarcus Vaughn, K. Nicole B, Dow M for Movies, Denise, Hack Sign KT, 25 Kid, Miss Renee Sybil, Kazuma Fury, Letitia, Buzzercam H1, X-Rated Wallow, Cool Spider, Derry, Stay Positive, Jeremiah, aka the Canadian Plug, Casey Malone, Ma D, and Sun Kiss the Most High. Shout out to everybody who is here so far. We got Blair in real life and David O, who just popped up in the chat as well. I hope everybody is having a good day so far. If you are on the East Coast like I am, I hope y'all are staying warm because it is officially fall. Fall has officially kicked in and in high gear. It's crazy how this weather works because it's like just a few days ago, this time last week, it felt like spring. Now it's like freezing outside right now. Like back-to-back days, I had to let my car run for like 15 minutes to get the frost off. It was so thick on my car, on my windshield especially. And speaking of my car, I thought I had to go get service done to my car. Was it yesterday? Because the little light or indicator came on and said, you got this amount of days before you got to get service done to your car. I was like, okay, let me just go ahead and knock it out right now. Why put on later what I can do today? So I drove up to the dealership to, get the car serviced. Now, mind you, my car is still under warranty. So which is a good thing because my car is not even a year old yet. And when I was getting ready to get what I thought was service done, the person had asked me how many miles did I have on the car. And then they looked it up and it was like, well, you actually came a little bit early because you aren't due for service until you reach 15,000 miles. My car currently has like 11,400 and something. I was so mad that I got up that early in that freezing cold to drive up there to the dealership with my car. That was like a 20-minute drive and then have to drive back. But at least it paid off because I had to put air in one of my tires because, when it gets cold, the air pressure in the tire starts to change a little bit. And I had to get gas. So it all worked itself out and the air was free because some of the places they be trying to charge you for air. So it all worked out itself out in the end. So so that's my little backstory. But the crazy thing is all of that happened yesterday. So who else we have in here? Mr. William Shantae, Carla. I know Val might pop up in here later. We got Tawana Cook and Jay the Informant. Shout out to I spoke her up. Val just popped right on. Val, I literally just spoke you up like 5 seconds ago, like right before you typed that comment. So we got the Troublemint twins in here, Val and Carla. Shout out to both of you. Power Spying Games said I've been cold in London for about 2 weeks or so. I can imagine. And Jeremiah, you in Canada, so I know it's freezing up there. If it's cold where I'm at on the East Coast, then those of y'all who are in Canada or some of y'all across the pond, or some of y'all that's in the upper Midwest states like Ohio, Missouri, Illinois, I know it's freezing up there. Let's see who else we got. Tildar 12 Vintage Clothing Apparel, Don P, Ben Yehuda. Give it about one more minute and we're going to get started. We have 88 people that's in here so far. Make sure before y'all type any comment that y'all hit the like button. We have a few stories that we are going to run through today. As y'all know, I can't type out every single thing in the title because we run out of characters. But we got a lot to discuss. Well, Miss Renee, you didn't have to brag about it. Talking about you in Texas and it's 72 and sunny. What's going on, DQ, Ren 11B Airborne, and Pinky JYB, and Natasha Holiday. Cool Spider. I was actually in South Carolina a couple weeks ago for my homecoming. I was in Columbia, and the weather was nice 2 weeks ago. It was lovely. It felt like the spring. Like I didn't have to wear a jacket. And the gas was very, very, very cheap down there too, by the way. All right, y'all, it is officially 6:10. So we are going to go ahead now and share the screen, and we are going to go ahead and get this thing started. Now, before I actually get into this first story, I have to give a shout out to Lisa Cabrera, because if it wasn't for her, I would not have known this story existed. And this was a last minute story that I threw in there. And I decided to put it in here because everybody who is watching me right now, we're all on the same platform. We're all on YouTube. And all of us have used this thing called an ad blocker at least once, or some people are using it right now. Well, in case y'all are unaware, YouTube has now implemented a new policy that is cracking down on those people who are deciding that they are going to use an ad blocker to avoid having ads play on videos. Basically, they're saying this can work out one of two ways. One, you can take out the ad blocker and watch the ads as they roll on people's videos who have monetization on, and they have the ads turned on, or you can get this premium. Either way, YouTube is saying we're going to get paid regardless. And if you want to try us and you want to have this ad blocker on and think that we won't catch you, think again. Because basically how it is, say that you have an ad blocker on, YouTube will prevent you from watching the video. And if y'all can see the screenshot where my cursor is right here, this is what it would look like. So imagine you're watching a video and you don't have YouTube Premium where you can dodge the ads. This will pop up on the screen and prevent you from watching the video until you click one of these two buttons. One that says allow YouTube ads or try YouTube Premium. They said the days of you using that ad blocker on our service is over. And this is something that got implemented or is rolling out now as we speak. Because this article is from Wired and it was posted November 3rd, which is today, 2023. It said YouTube expanded a quote unquote test that threatens to cut off users who don't turn off their ad blocker. Developers of the tool are scrambling to respond. So it's really all just a money thing. That's really all it is. Now, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I have the premium. I'll admit it. But they said we're going to get our money one way or another. Miss Renee says, so we can't skip through the ads. Basically, like I said, they're basically forcing your hand. They're saying either you can watch these ads or you can get the premium, the YouTube Premium, and pay monthly so you don't have to watch the ads. That's basically what they're saying. And I want y'all to understand this. I always believe in the domino effect. What one platform is doing, more are probably going to start doing. I don't know how many of y'all are familiar with Twitch, but if y'all think YouTube ads are annoying, watch one Twitch stream. Twitch ads on Twitch streams are some of the most annoying ads because those ads are long and you cannot skip them. So that means, say for example, you're at least on YouTube, you have the option to skip an ad depending on how the ad is placed, and it's usually just one ad. On Twitch, you can watch someone stream and you will get hit with an ad midstream. Like you'll get hit with an ad and it'll say ad 1 of 3. And guess what? On Twitch, you have to watch all of them. You cannot skip one ad on Twitch. And some of them ads be running for like 20 seconds. So imagine you're sitting at a screen for a whole minute between 3 different ads and you cannot skip one of them. And that's as soon as you click on somebody's stream who's live. You can't even see what the person is doing before all of a sudden, boom, that ad pops right on up. And you got to watch every last one of them. See, Monty Pool down there knows exactly what I'm talking about. He says 5 minutes of total ads is brutal on Twitch. That's how Twitch and Amazon, because Amazon owns Twitch, makes their money. It's through the ads. And YouTube is doing the same thing now, which is why they are cracking down on people who use ad blockers. You don't think that they can't see that stuff at their headquarters, that people are using these ads, these ad blockers? They can see that. Yeah, see, some of the people in the chat know exactly what I'm talking about when I'm talking about them Twitch ads. Them Twitch ads are insane. But yeah, I didn't have to like really read this article. I just wanted to bring it to your attention because, again, I know many of you are on YouTube like every day, whether you're watching me or something else. But I just wanted y'all to get a heads up. That way, if you do have an ad blocker and one day you do get online and you watch a video and that thing pops up, you won't say, oh, I'm shocked by this. I heard about it from Torian, or I watched Lisa Cabrera's video when she talked about it. So that takes care of that right there. And believe it or not, y'all, this is the lightest story of the day. It all goes downhill from here. And the first spot that we're starting at is Amy Schumer. Amy Shoehorn, as I like to call her, decided she was going to take it upon herself to bring in Dr. King's name to talk about what's going on across the pond with one particular group in particular. Now, the last time I talked about Dr. King and people misusing his name and misquoting him was with Joe Rogan. And you know, I checked Joe Rogan in my video. What was it, last week? Yeah, it was last week, because that's when I had addressed some of them trolls. And they were so upset when I had the nerve to actually say that Joe Rogan was lying about saying that Dr. King was colorblind. But in case y'all didn't know, Amy Schumer basically used some quotes that Dr. King had said way back in the day in the 60s, where he was talking about a particular group, and she tried to parallel it to what's going on right now, and people lit her up on X. So much, in fact, that this woman turned off her comment section. So if you was to go to her post on X, it was just a video that she put out there, and people was going in on her so much, she turned the comments off. But that didn't stop people from quoting her and saying how they felt underneath the post. And when I tell you everybody was going at her, I meant everybody was going at her. You had black people coming for her. You had PC people coming for her. You had south of the Borderian coming after her. You had Asian coming after her. It was like a damn rainbow coalition of people going after her for posting that, because they knew she was being very disingenuous. And now you done got Dr. King's daughter, Bernice King, having to come out yet again and having to check one of these PC individuals who keeps bastardizing her father's name. She had to check Joe Rogan. Now she got to come out and check Amy Schumer. This woman is just trying to live her life in peace, and y'all keep interrupting it because y'all keep bringing up the spirit of Dr. King for your own nefarious reasons. Let's read a little bit of what she said of what was going on here. It says, Bernice King, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s daughter and CEO of the Martin Luther King Jr. Center for Nonviolent Social Change, responded after Amy Schumer shared a video of MLK speaking about Israel. And I never said it before, but my goodness, his daughter looks just like him. It's crazy. Since the attacks by Hamas on an Israeli music festival on October 7th, around 1,400 Israelis have died. Approximately 83 Palestinians have died in retaliatory bombing. Some, including the United Nations Agency for Palestinian Refugees, have subsequently called for a ceasefire, which has been rejected by both the U.S. and Israel. Amy has consistently posted pro-Israel content in the ensuing weeks to come. Criticism, such as when she deleted an Instagram story about genocide that was actually about Palestine. She has further reposted content claiming that people calling for a ceasefire are aligning with terrorists who pledge to kill every last you-know-what. Yesterday, however, Amy posted a video of MLK speaking in 1967, where he said the whole world must see that Israel must exist and has the right to exist and is one of the great outpost democracy in the world. Another clip of MLK speaking then plays where he said, If my Jewish brothers and sisters said to me amid anti-Semitism anywhere, we don't need your support. We have enough Jewish power to deal with this problem ourselves. I will still take a stand against anti-Semitism because it is wrong, it is unjust, and it is evil. Bernice then wrote on Twitter, Amy, certainly my father was against anti-Semitism, as am I. He also believed militarism, along with racism and poverty, to be among the interconnected triple evils. I am certain he would call for Israel's bombing of Palestinians to cease, for hostages to be released, and for us to work for true peace, which includes justice. She then quoted MLK's Where Do We Go From Here? Justice as its best is love, correcting everything that stands against love. Bernice added, we have much to correct. Bernice then included a clip of MLK talking about the Vietnam War, where he said, we should restrain our power. There's always the danger of any nation will abuse their power, and I think our power will be much more than military power. We don't need to prove to the world or anybody our military power. I think we've got to prove our moral power. When asked at the time if the U.S. had abused its power, MLK replied, oh, I certainly do in the War of Vietnam. Bernice then encouraged Amy to read MLK's 1967 book, Where Do We Go From Here? Chaos or Community, and concluded, I mourn with all who are mourning. I know that we can't afford to diminish and dehumanize each other if we are truly committed to ridding humanity of the triple evils, to freedom and from oppression for all. I'm going to tell you right now, I highly doubt that Amy Schumer is even going to read that book. But you know what's so interesting? Whenever a black person, quote unquote, gets out of line and talks about them, then that's when they want to have the sit down and have the talk and bring in the rabbi and have them do this whole decompression type of thing whenever it's one of them. Since posting the MLK video, Amy has continued to share anti-ceasefire content. She then posted a statement saying, what I want is every hostage back. I want safety and freedom from Hamas for Palestinians and Israelis. We are all in a lot of pain. What hurts the most is that we all actually love each other. You hate, well, you know what she said. You don't know why. I still love you. So that's the whole thing right there. Again, tone deaf. This is why I said don't throw me into anything that is going on over there. I'm not saying a thing. Don't ask me about anything. I have no dog in this fight. And what I think is, and what I find to be very interesting is that a lot of people keep trying to use the guilt language when it comes to us to try to make us feel some type of way. Don't fall for it. That's all I'm going to say is don't fall for it. They're going to feel how they feel. And like I said, if you say something and they don't like it, they're going to check you on that. If you don't say anything, then they're going to still be mad. Well, it's a lose-lose situation. So I'm going to just be safe with myself and not say anything at all, no matter how you feel about it. And if you feel some type of way about it, then that's on you. That sounds like a personal problem. Oh, well, that's how I feel about it. Next story. And this time we are going to be talking about Ice Cube and the Big Three. As y'all know, Ice Cube, Big Three, that is his basketball league, and is going through some issues right now concerning the NBA. Now, this article was posted on October 23rd, 2023, and it's on Yahoo Entertainment, but it's from Vibe. It says NBA is under investigation for alleged interference with Ice Cube's Big Three league. Now, where I work at, the Big Three has come to my place of employment a couple of times. I never got a chance to work any of them, mainly because of the day that they have them. So I was never available, but it has been in the area. But let's see what they're talking about on here. What has the NBA done that is so egregious concerning the Big Three? The NBA is reportedly under investigation by the Department of Justice over the Professional Basketball League suspected interference with Ice Cube's Big Three basketball league. According to TMZ, the DOJ is looking into allegations that the NBA has attempted to undercut the success and expansion of the Big Three by using its power and influence to stop potential sponsors, television networks, NBA players, and referees from working with the league. I forgot who it was that I told. It may have been Rob over at Blacklight Revelations, where whenever we create something, here they go. Here they go trying to undercut. A tale as old as time. The source claims the NBA is said to have implemented rules barring current players in the league from participating in the Big Three, although many NBA stars play in various summer and international leagues during the off seasons. That's because that's something the NBA has some control over. The NBA has allegedly used similar tactics in dissuading referees from officiating Big Three games, although they are allowed to work in other leagues. While Big Three co-founders Ice Cube and Jeff Kwastanets, and that definitely sound, and that last name, y'all know what I mean by that, believe the league is being unfairly targeted by the NBA. Mike Bass, a spokesperson for the NBA, has refuted those accusations as being untrue. We have been supportive of the Big Three since its inception, but we declined to invest. Bass said of the NBA's dealings concerning the Big Three. So now this Mike Bass person is saying we support the Big Three, but we're just going to choose not to invest our money into it. So basically what they're trying to say is that Ice Cube apparently went to them for maybe some sponsorships or some type of investment, maybe give them a boost. And they said, no, you're going to do this on your own. And it also is almost sounding like also they're saying, well, we're not investing with you. Why would we let our players play with you as if it's a summer league? Why would we let our referees officiate for you if we're not completely invested in you? That's what it sounds, or that's what it's reading like to me. If the NBA is found guilty of violating antitrust laws, the league will be subjected to a penalty and will be ordered to pay a massive fine. Ice Cube has been open about his suspicion that the NBA has been working against the Big Three, going on records as to paint NBA Commissioner Adam Silver and the league as an opposing force. Ever since I put out that contract with Black America, they've been effing with me. Here and there, this and that, the West Coast legend said back in June. But it's cool. I expect that. I've been working on the Big Three for a long time, and how they've been effing with me. I've made it plain, simple and clear that what they've been doing, the NBA is effing with us. While Cube had initially attempted to include the NBA in the Big Three's plans, he has since moved on and has no further desire to work with the league. Really, I don't give a F about working with the NBA, he added. What I want them to do when I say work with us is to stop working against us. We can do it ourselves. We still on the rise without these MFers. We don't need them. You don't need them. Well, here's the thing right here, Ice Cube. When you have your own league, is the Big Three, and yes, it is his league in partnership, there's always going to be competition. The NBA is going to compete with you no matter what. They know you have influence. Now, granted, the NBA is always going to get the massive views, which is why the Big Three typically holds their games and their leagues during the summer months when the NBA is not in play. So really, if you think about it, the only thing they'll be competing with is the WNBA. And for them, that should be an easy work for them. No disrespect to them, but it is what it is. And it says the Big Three recently completed its sixth season since launching in 2017, which yielded a significant rise in the league's viewership rating. So, at the end of the day, it's doing well. It's doing well. But he said he just doesn't want them to work against them. But like I said, this is competition. They're going to compete with you no matter what. Let me see what y'all saying in the chat. Arthur said, why would the NBA invest in anything Black and successful, and it would reinvest in the Black community overall? They would do it if they get something out the deal. They won't do it and not get anything in return. If that makes sense. That's the only way they would invest, if they got something out of it. That's the only way. But his league is doing successful. So, I mean, yeah, like I said, like him choosing to just move forward from this is the best thing that he can do. Don't look back, just move forward and let it thrive. It will attract the people that it is supposed to attract. Let's move on to the next story. And we're talking about another sports figure, and a sports figure that I've been talking about for a while now, and that is the welfare king himself, Brett Favre. So yes, Brett Favre is back in the news again. No, it has not. This has nothing to do with what he should be in the news consistently about, but it's about something I talked about with him a few months back, with that suit, that defamation suit that he took out against Shannon Sharpe, that I knew wasn't going anywhere. He did the same thing with Pat McAfee, and that didn't go anywhere either. As a matter of fact, it went right in the dumpster because they ended up having to drop that lawsuit, that defamation suit against Pat McAfee. And now recently, as y'all can see on your screen, they just dropped that defamation suit with Shannon Sharpe. It was going nowhere. He really got upset because people was putting stuff out there about him that was actually true, about what he was doing. So let's see what they talking about. It says Brett Favre's defamation suit against Shannon Sharpe over welfare case comments is dismissed. A federal judge ruled that Sharpe was using rhetorical hyperbole in saying on air that Favre was taking from the underserved. A federal judge on Monday dismissed Brett Favre's defamation lawsuit against fellow retired NFL player Shannon Sharpe, ruling that Sharpe used constitutionally protected speech on a sports broadcast when he criticized Favre's connection to a welfare misspending case in Mississippi. U.S. District Judge Keith Starrett ruled that Sharpe, a former tight end, was using rhetorical hyperbole in saying on air that Favre was taken from the underserved. That the former quarterback stole money from people that really needed that money, and that someone would have to be a sorry person to steal from the lowest of the low. Favre sued Sharpe in February, saying that the fellow Pro Football Hall of Fame member made egregiously false statements about him on the Fox Sports talk show Skip and Shannon, Undisputed. The case was moved to federal court in March, and Sharpe left the sports show in June. Discussion of Mississippi welfare spending on Undisputed took place after extensive news coverage about allegations of Mississippi's largest public corruption case. Mississippi Auditor Shad White has said that from 2016 to 2019, the Mississippi Department of Human Services spent more than $77 million from the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families program, money that was intended to help some of the poorest people in the U.S., which, by the way, Mississippi is probably one of the poorest states in America. I'm kind of skipping ahead a little bit. It says Starrett wrote in his ruling Monday that Sharpe's references to taking and stole referred to diverting TANF money or TANF money for purposes other than helping the underprivileged. Similarly, Sharpe's use of the words people that really needed the money, the lowest of the low, and the underserved, again, are examples of protected, colorful speech referring to needy families in Mississippi, the judge wrote. So basically, Shannon Sharpe's First Amendment right, the amendment that they love so much, was protected in this instance. Here, no reasonable person listening to the broadcast would think that Favre actually went into the homes of poor people and took their money, that he committed the crime of theft, larceny against any particular poor person in Mississippi, Starrett wrote. Monday night on X, formerly known as Twitter, Sharpe noted the dismissal of the lawsuit and thanked his legal team for handling the case. And that's pretty much it. So Brett Favre is back to square one. When I like I told y'all, when he first took this out back in February, I was like, Brett Favre, what are you and your team doing or trying to do? There's nothing there. So he's back to square one. So hopefully the next time we hear about Favre, it's about that upcoming trial, because I think they're supposed to be working on that upcoming trial. Arthur said Shannon Sharpe dared Favre to sue him. Yeah, and we see the outcome of that. That didn't go off the way that he intended. So he's back to square one again. I guess him and his team will have to go back to the drawing board and continue to try to get this whole thing taken care of, so to speak. But let's move on to the next story. This next story right here has been all over X. Like, I've seen so many people tag me in this story right here, not knowing I was going to talk about it today. But here we are. No, it has nothing to do with what you see right here on your screen. That is something completely different. And I find it irony that they got this right here and considering the person they have in the background. I'm going to just leave it right there. But this story is about Dexter Wade. Put a 1 in the chat if y'all heard about the story involving Dexter Wade, and put a 2 in the chat if this is going to be your first time ever hearing about this story. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of 2s in the chat. I'm not surprised. That's why y'all are here. So basically what happened was, given a little summary, this black man by the name of Dexter Wade, is ironically, we are talking about Mississippi again, and we just finished talking about Mississippi, is a black man by the name of Dexter Wade who was killed by a Mississippi police officer because they were driving and they hit his car and he died. The mother did not know that her son was dead. She just thought he just was missing. At least that's what they told her. She went months, I think 7 months, not knowing that her son was dead the entire time. And then on top of that, to make matters worse, the people that were involved buried him. They did not go to the hospital. There was no reports filed. They just took his body and dug a grave and buried him. And his mother did not know for 7 months that her son was dead. She just found out her son was deceased last month. Do you know how much hell I would have raised if this was my son or my brother or whatever? But let's read this. The family of a man who was fatally struck by an off-duty police officer's SUV, then buried without their knowledge, is calling for a federal investigation. I would be calling for their heads. That's just me. Dexter Wade, age 37, was killed on March 5th, according to his death certificate, less than an hour after he left home following an argument. Despite his mother, Dexter Wade, reporting him missing to the Jackson Police Department in Mississippi days later, she says she wasn't informed of his death until August 24th, nearly 6 months after he died. So she wasn't informed until August, and the story just went out last month. He just disappeared off the face of the earth, and nobody knew where he was. None of his friends, nobody. All the time he was right down there in the morgue. All they had to do was say was, "Miss Wade, your son is in the morgue." Dexter had been buried without her knowing in a cemetery outside of a county prison. His grave was marked only by a number. According to the coroner's office, Dexter was identified using prescription medication he was carrying, and next of kin information was sourced from a medical clinic. According to Wade, the coroner was unable to reach her, but she was told Jackson police tried to contact her several times. Wade says she never received a call. That's how I know that they're lying. Because what mother would get a call about her son being just missing and she would ignore the call? They can't even lie right. Give me a reason why y'all did not contact me. Why did y'all not knock on my door? She said. Wade said she filed a missing persons report with the Jackson Police Department in March after her son was missing for more than a week. She said she spent months following up and searching the city and even asked for help online. The mayor of Jackson said there was a lack of communication between the Missing Persons Division, the coroner's office, and accident investigators. It was, in fact, an accident, and there was no malicious intent, the mayor said during a press conference last week. Accident or not, you buried this woman's son and had her thinking that he was just missing for months. then lied and said that you called her and when you didn't. That could have all been squared away, but they took it upon themselves to try to clear themselves out the way and just bury her child, her son, in an unmarked grave. Me too, Queen. I call BS on the mayor too. Civil rights attorney Ben Crump, oh God, who was representing the Wade family, said he plans to petition the court to have his body exhumed and have an independent autopsy performed, and then give him a proper funeral for his mother and his daughters and his family. Crump, who has also represented the families of Tyree Nichols, Malcolm X, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and others, says he hopes to have the body exhumed next week. CBS News reached out to the Jackson Police Department but did not hear back. So his body is still down in that grave. They said they're going to try to get his body exhumed next week. That's crazy. Imagine this man's mother thinking her son is missing, and shout out to Val for the $5 super chat, and thinking her son is just missing. They don't contact her, even though they lied and said that they did. She finds out that he's been dead for months, that they buried him in an unmarked grave that was just marked by a number, and he's still down there. That man is probably by now very decomposed. They need to find, because I noticed something else too. They need to find the individuals who are responsible for what they did to her son. And shout out to Carla for the $5 super chat, matching her Trouble Mint twin. Val, I appreciate it. When I heard about this story, my jaw dropped. I'm gonna be honest with you. They treated her son like he was nothing. Like it was like he was just roadkill. And shout out to Denise Scales for the $5 super sticker. I appreciate it. Like I said, they need to find those who are responsible. I bet you I wouldn't even be in the least bit surprised if the one who hit him was on something or they were intoxicated. I wouldn't be surprised. But I'm gonna try to keep my eye on this story though. Let's go on to the next story right here. And this is another unfortunate story right here coming out of Milwaukee. I don't think Spidey is in here because this is in his state. I'm very sure that he would be aware of this. About this 12-year-old boy by the name of Jacarie Robinson, who was found inside of his home, deceased and decomposing, which means he had been there for days. And this is the picture of the boy right here. It says the decomposing body of 12-year-old Jacarie Robinson was found inside a Milwaukee house. His family says the boy had been malnourished and his death is considered suspicious, police said. The decomposing body of a 12-year-old boy has been found in a Wisconsin home, and his family says they have no answers about how he died. Jacarie was the youngest of 10 siblings and had been living with his father, his relatives told local reporters. Well, I think we can start there. The boy's uncle told the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel that Jacarie had been living with his dad and two sisters in the house where his body was found. Was anything going out of the ordinary that I should have known about or any signs that I missed? DC Moy told the news outlet the siblings were spread out and lived in different homes. The coroner's office said the boy had been malnourished and his body was difficult to identify because of decomposition. The Milwaukee County Medical Examiner's Office said it is investigating the death as a homicide. The Milwaukee Police Department has not ruled the death a homicide. A cause of death has not been released. The Milwaukee police were called to the home Tuesday night and the child's body was discovered about an hour later. Few details about the case have been publicly released. This investigation is a suspicious death at this time and has not been ruled a homicide. Milwaukee Police Sergeant Efren Cornejo told the Inside Edition Digital Thursday in response to a request for information about the investigation. Jacarie was a quiet but happy boy who loved wrestling and TikTok videos, his uncle and aunt Lauren told the Journal-Sentinel. Family members who held a vigil outside of the home where Jacarie's body was found said they had not seen the boy in a while, but had no reason to believe something was wrong. Jordan Robinson, who was Jacarie's older brother, told WDJT TV on Wednesday, "I feel like I was stunned a little bit. You think everything's been good this whole time." Robinson said his little brother would be remembered for his smile. He come light up her whole room. You'd feel loved by him, and he was a good kid. I truly believe they need to look into that dad. They need to look into that dad. Why do I say that? Because that's who he was living with. That's the adult he was always with. Because they said that he lived with his dad and his two sisters. I doubt that the sisters did it. So I truly believe that the dad has some involvement. Because so it was only 4 of them in the house: him, his 2 sisters, and his dad. Sunkist said he died of starvation. That's intentional. Exactly. He was malnourished. Like they said, he was so badly decomposed they barely recognized him. So like I said, he, like, again, look into the dad. Grape Shot said, have they even talked to the dad yet? I'm not sure, because I've been trying to see if I could find any more articles surrounding this story, but it's not that much going out there about it, honestly. And this was posted on October the 12th, almost a month ago. B1 Afro. Oh, and Afro, I can't wait to hear that podcast. The one that you and Black Alpha and ZZ gonna have, and it's Sunday, right? I want to make sure I have the day right, and I want to make sure that I have the time right, because I definitely want to be tuned into that. But either way, this is a very sad story, but there's definitely more involved into this, definitely. And an adult, I'll put it like that, an adult is definitely responsible for this. You said it is this Sunday and the link is coming soon. Good, because I definitely want to be tuned into that. Queen said his sisters knew what was happening. Why didn't they speak? Speak out. I know they were fearful, but that was their little brother. Probably. But either way, it's a sad situation. I don't like talking about stories like this as much. Now, let me tell y'all something. Shout out to everybody who subscribed to me on Patreon. If this was a story that I wasn't incorporating into the live stream today, this is what y'all would have seen on Patreon. These stories, these kind of stories right here, are what end up on my Patreon account, my Patreon page. So if y'all are not subscribed to the Patreon, I highly suggest that you do. I actually posted a video up there today about this degenerate woman who was sending explicit images of a very, very, very young minor to a man she met online. That is all you're going to get out of me when it comes to that. If y'all want the full details of that story, y'all need to go and hit that link to that Patreon and subscribe to that, because that's where those type of stories end up. But let's move on to the next story. We get into our first video of the day. Now, this one right here is absolutely ridiculous, but I'm going to let the video, the news clip, play itself out, and y'all are going to hear what they're talking about.
A woman's in the hospital after being shot at a nursing home in Logan, West Virginia. Her son is the one charged with pulling that trigger. He was arraigned on various charges today. This is a WSAZ exclusive video of James Biddell's arraignment. He's charged with attempted murder, amongst many others. Deputies say he shot his mother once in the chest inside Trinity Healthcare Services. Then he took off, but he was ultimately arrested near Chapmanville. Biddell was taken to the Southwestern Regional Jail. Now, his mother was flown to the hospital. She is in stable condition right now. The Logan County Deputy Chief tells us when the shooting was initially reported, a sense of urgency set in.
Well, disbelief to start with, and then kind of once you arrive on scene and see that somebody actually has been shot, it just kicks in to do what you're there to do, process the scene. And
now, the Logan County Sheriff's Office says they aren't immediately aware of any previous incidents between James Biddell and his mother.
All right. So the news clip didn't go into detail of why he shot his mother. So I'm gonna take it upon myself and read the article, because the article actually does tell it. And when I tell you, it is absolutely ridiculous. I have never heard of a reasoning like this before, to just shoot your own mother in a nursing home. A man faces a number of charges, including attempted murder, after his mother was shot Monday evening at a nursing home in Henlawson, the Logan County Sheriff's Department said. James Biddell of Ohio is also charged with malicious wounding and wanton endangerment. Deputies say the 67-year-old victim was shot once in the chest. She was flown from CAMC General in Charleston, where she was listed as stable. The shooting was reported just before 5:15 p.m. at Trinity Healthcare Services, located at the 100 block of Bills Branch Road in Henlawson. Deputies say the suspect drove off in a silver Chevrolet truck and was stopped by West Virginia on US 119 near the Chapmanville exit. That's about 4 miles from where the shooting happened. Deputies determined Biddell entered the facility, walked into the victim's room that she shared with another woman, and then later left without asking for assistance on reporting an incident. After stopped on US 119, Biddell was then taken to the West Virginia State Police Logan Detachment and read his Miranda warning. At the detachment, Biddell gave an audio statement in which he admitted to shooting the victim. Now, look, I want y'all to pay close attention to why he said he shot his mother. It is going to completely make you shake your head. The way he explained it to us was that he just drove down and she looked at him a certain way, and apparently he didn't like it. This man shot his mother because he didn't like the way that she looked at him. That's why he did it. He presented a firearm that he had concealed on his person and shot her in the chest. He was then taken to the Southwestern Regional Jail. Imagine you shooting your own mother in the chest because you didn't like the way she looked at you. Or anybody for that matter. But your mother, though? Is she in a nursing home? I guess we can add this as another notch onto the FBI crime statistics, right? I don't know if Professor Black Truth is out there listening or not, but I think that this man definitely qualifies for a Friday crime report. I'm just saying. Black Knight says, let me guess, will they call mental illness on this guy too? The possibilities are endless. It might actually happen if they haven't done so already. But I didn't see them talk about anything relating to a mental illness in this article. But that doesn't mean they didn't do it. I don't know if Denise is still in this chat, but I know Denise is in West Virginia. And if Denise, if you are still in here, let me know. Did you hear about this? Oh, Denise is right there. You said, I live in Charleston, West Virginia. Logan is about 2 hours away from me. Okay, then you probably did hear about it then. Grape shot. I said I thought you was going to say somebody misplaced the meth pipe. He do looks like he's on that stuff, though. Oh, then he says she did. Okay. I kind of figured that you did. But yeah. Yeah. Like I tell you, any day that ends in Y. But let's move on to the next story. All right. I feel like I'm about to ask a rhetorical question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Who remembers Casey Anthony? Put an I do in the chat if you remember her. Put an I don't if you don't remember her. But everybody in this chat should remember Casey Anthony, because that was a very big story of many moons ago, I should say. And yes, to this day, I still believe she did it, no matter what the court said. especially with the involvement of this judge who we're going to be talking about right now. Well, not this judge right here, whose name is Jeffrey Ashton. Jeffrey Ashton was the judge who was the lead prosecutor in the Casey Anthony trial. Well, Judge Jeffrey Ashton, who should be former judge at this point, is now facing child abuse allegations. What an epiphany. What an interesting web we tangled. That the person you helped get off for what we believe to be, because unfortunately we still got to say allegedly because of the outcome, taking out her own daughter, was dabbling in child abuse scandals himself. Let's see here. According to an executive order released by Governor Ron DeSnowflake, Judge Jeffrey Ashton has been accused of lewd and lascivious molestation on a child. USA Today could find no record of charges. A Florida judge who was the lead prosecutor in the high-profile Casey Anthony trial has been accused of child abuse, according to Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Judge Jeffrey Ashton of the 9th Judicial Circuit Court of Florida, which includes Orlando, is facing allegations of lewd and lascivious molestation on a child under 16 and failure to report child abuse, according to an executive order by DeSnowflake issued on October 11th. State Attorney Andrew Bain notified DeSnowflake of the allegations, according to the executive order, which reassigned the investigation and potential prosecution to the 10th Circuit State Attorney's Office to avoid a conflict of interest. Bain was appointed as state attorney in August after DeSnowflake ousted Democrat Monique Worrell. The Winter Park Police Department confirmed they are investigating the allegations on Monday, but declined to comment further. USA Today could find no record of criminal charges being filed against Ashton. Ashton's office directed questions to his attorney, Warren Lindsay, who has not returned multiple messages seeking comment. A representation from Bain's office declined to elaborate on the allegations or how Bain became aware of them, saying the criminal case originated with law enforcement. Bain's office directed all questions up to the 10th Judicial Circuit, which has not responded to requests for comment. The 10th Circuit State Attorney's Office confirmed that they have been assigned to the matter. As we began in work in this matter, we will review all available evidence and applicable laws to determine whether charges should be filed, the office said in an emailed statement to USA Today on Tuesday. Well, I say this: just go to the man's house and see what you can find. That's what I say. Look and see what's on them thumb drives. Go and look and see what's on those hard drives. Queen, I wouldn't be surprised if he was engaging in that type of activity back then. It seems so long ago when that happened. But I wouldn't be surprised if that was if he was, honestly. Because if you notice, a lot of these judges who be letting people off, or prosecutors who be letting people off for these kind of acts, when you dig deep enough, a lot of them are involved with that kind of stuff too. Remember Aaron Persky, who let Brock Turner, well, he might as well have let him walk out of that courtroom with that weak sentence he got. They made sure to get him up out the paint a few months later. But yep, that's that story right there. Excuse me. Let's move on to the next story. We are moving right along, y'all. Now, this story right here is one that I didn't get initially a chance to talk about when it first happened. But I'm going to go ahead now and hold on. Let me enlarge this right quick and make sure that I replay it from the beginning. I hate when I can't bring it back to the beginning. Hold on, y'all. Okay. So some of y'all may or may not be familiar with this story right here involving this woman by the name of Melissa Mooney. But I'm going to let the news clip play itself out, and we're going to get some more information about it.
Gruesome new details revealed in the brutal murder of an aspiring model. Good evening, I'm Micah Ullman.
And I'm Sandra Mitchell in for Cher Calvin. According to the autopsy report just released, 31-year-old Melissa Mooney was bound, she was gagged, and she was stuffed inside a refrigerator.
Despite the new disturbing details, police have been tight-lipped, refusing to release any details about a suspect. Mary Beth McDade is live in Hollywood with the details tonight. Mary Beth.
Yeah, and Micah and Sandy, I can tell you guys that the details revealed in this autopsy report absolutely horrific. And the person responsible still on the loose.
Disturbing details revealed in the newly released autopsy results of 31-year-old model Melissa Mooney. The medical examiner has ruled the cause of death as homicidal violence. The report indicates Mooney was last seen alive on surveillance video at her downtown LA apartment complex on September 6th. Police found her badly beaten body 6 days later, and we now know her body was found inside a refrigerator in her luxury apartment. Her family had asked police to do a welfare check when they hadn't heard from her.
We just knew something was off, like her messages wasn't delivering and stuff.
Police found the model's body brutally beaten, her head and body with traumatic injuries, her wrists and ankles bound and tied together behind her back with electrical cords and clothing, a gag stuffed in her mouth. Her body then wedged into a refrigerator with pooled blood below it. The investigator believes what many had suspected, that she was likely involved in a violent struggle before her death. In a recent interview, the model's sister reacted to the trauma her sister suffered.
We have to have a closed casket. We can't even see her. The people at the mortuary don't even want us to see her because he said it's traumatic. The guy at the mortuary started crying for us because of that, how traumatic it is. And it's like, why would someone do this? You know, like, why would someone do this to her? You know.
Her sister told us Melissa was pregnant. She said she spoke to the expectant father and doesn't think the pregnancy had anything to do with her sister's murder. The report indicates that suffocation may have played a part in her death, but says it's uncertain if the cocaine and alcohol in Melissa's body contributed.
And this person is still out there, you know what I'm saying? And the police is not telling us anything. Like, I'm just like, what is the holdup?
Yes, there are just so many questions tonight about her killer and just how fearful the public should be. We reached out to LAPD and all they'll say is that detectives are not talking and the investigation is ongoing. For now, reporting live here in Hollywood, Mary Beth McDade. We'll send it back to you guys.
All right. So we all just heard that. And believe it or not, y'all, that was my first time actually listening to that whole clip, that whole thing. Like I said, I only knew bits and pieces about it. I didn't know all of the details behind it. Like, I'm sitting here like I had to refrain from like reacting verbally when I was listening to that. Like, having to hear her sister, you know, be very emotional, and rightfully so, about not being able to see her sister because her body was like, she was badly beaten, and then saying that they have to have a closed casket because of how badly she was, you know, tortured. I mean, let's call it what it is. She was tortured. Like they said, they tied her up, they gagged her, they tied her wrists together behind her back, and she was stuffed inside of a refrigerator. This was, whoever did this, that was very, very personal. And then hearing the unexpected part about her being pregnant, that's what really made me raise my eyebrows. Like, hold on. She was pregnant? In a case like this, in a situation like this, I would want the father of the child to be interviewed, like put them in a room. Because now it's raising suspicions like, okay, are you or are you not involved? Just to be sure. Because usually that's how it goes. They'll always go and see, okay, this woman was pregnant. Let's talk to the father of the child. And also, I would like to know, how far along was she in this pregnancy? Like, did she just become pregnant? Has she been pregnant for a couple weeks, a month? How far along was she in this pregnancy? And then they said they had found cocaine in her system too. It's a lot of moving parts to the situation. And then on top of this, a few days before, there was another black woman in LA, not far from where this happened at, was also deleted. It's something very fishy going on out there. Some kids said they drugged her. Oh, no doubt in my mind. They definitely had to. Well, hopefully they can find who did it. Because she was definitely tortured. Because they said she suffered blunt force trauma to the head, torso, and arms with multiple lacerations and contusions. So that means she was cut as well. She was hit with a blunt object multiple times, tied up, gagged, and then stuffed into a refrigerator. But hopefully they find out who did it. And I'm going to try my best to stay on top of this story because I'm curious now. Like, just hearing that 3-minute news clip got me kind of invested. But either way, condolences to her family. And it was very hard watching her sisters like try to get those words out. Because also when I think about this, I keep thinking about what Ed Buck did. Y'all remember Ed Buck? And that was out there in California too, and out in LA. So yeah, hopefully they catch the person who did it before they move on to a possible third victim. Because, well, the thing is with the previous one, we don't know if it's the same person, but I just find it irony that both of the women were black. Both of them were quote unquote models. They were both young and they both died and were killed in LA. And not that far apart from each other and not that far off in time from each other either, as far as days and weeks go. Well, let's move on to the next story right here. And this story right here is more of an update to what happened out there in Alabama back in August. So if I was doing this separate of a live stream, this would be an Operation Protect the White Boy / White Woman entry for sure. So let me go ahead and
an apology today in the Riverfront brawl case. 4 of the people charged appeared in court. One of the men said sorry and entered a guilty plea. Joining us in the newsroom right now, WSFA 12 News anchor Rosanna Smith. And Rosanna, you were in the courtroom when Richard Roberts apologized. Tell us more.
Val, he spoke directly to Damian Pickett, the co-captain of the Harriet II, and the 16-year-old deckhand. Roberts apologized for his actions and told Pickett he believed they would be friends under different circumstances. Now, the brawl broke out after a dispute of a dockside spot for boats in August. The 16-year-old deckhand was injured in this case, along with his mother. They testified. One accusation we heard previously was that racial slurs were used before the brawl started. Now, both testified that Roberts was not the one who made the slurs. Today, Roberts pled guilty to assault. Mary Todd also entered a guilty plea for harassment. Roberts initially took his case to trial, but during a recess, reached that plea deal. His attorney says they're glad this is behind them.
You know, I think it's ready just to move on and get on with our lives. And I think today, you know, there'll be a no appeal, and he's accepted responsibility. And again, appreciate the city for the plea agreement and working it out.
Roberts received a 4-month suspended sentence. He'll serve weekends only in Perry County. That starts next Saturday. Mary Todd will go through anger management. Val?
All right, Rosanna, now there are 3 other people charged. Where do their cases stand right now?
Well, Val, Alan Todd and Jacarie Shipman were in court today. Their cases were moved to next month. And the 5th suspect, Reggie Ray, is also expected in court next month. And Ray is the one seen on video allegedly hitting a woman with a folding chair. We've learned that woman is Robert's wife. Ray is only charged with disorderly conduct and not assault. Richard's attorney says Robert's wife did not press charges against Ray and does not plan to. Val?
All right, Rosanna, thank you for the update.
All right, y'all. So y'all just heard that right there. Like I said, this would be Operation Protect the White Boy / White Woman if this was a separate video from this live stream. So he only has to serve, when he does his time, he only has to go in on the weekends. So that means from Monday to Friday, he's a free man. But on Saturday and Sunday, he got to be behind bars and he can be out and just do whatever. And the other one, anger management. I guess they felt that the whooping that they sustained on that Saturday in that first Saturday in August was enough punishment. I guess in their mind, that was all the punishment they needed. I'm not surprised they got a slap on the wrist. I'm not. But guess what? They may have gotten a slap on the wrist in these proceedings, but they got more than a slap on August the 5th. Exactly, Cosma. He said she knew they were wrong. That's why she's not pressing charges on the brother with the chair. Exactly. All of them were wrong. And that energy got met. They found out that day. FAFO definitely applied in that situation right there. And the whole world saw it. That thing went viral several times over. It went viral so much that some platforms where people were posting the video were starting to snatch it down, but it wasn't enough because as much as they tried to snatch it down, more and more videos went up. They could not escape it. It even got to the point where you had to watch what you said on YouTube about it because some people who were talking about it, who couldn't even play the video, were getting the video snatched down. They didn't like the idea of seeing black people come together and get on code and do and handle business. And shout out to the individual that sent me the Cash App. I'm not going to say your name on it, but I did receive it. I appreciate it. What happened in Alabama back earlier this year, back in August, hands down has to go down as one of the most memorable things of 2023. I'm actually surprised that nobody dressed up as that man with the chair for Halloween. I was looking to see if anyone was going to do it, but I didn't see it. Because if they did, they would have won hands down, no matter what anyone else tried to do. That was one heck of a memory right there that we will never forget. And when the 1-year anniversary comes back around next year, I'm just curious of how people going to be. But anyway, let's move on to the last story, y'all. This is the last story of the day, and this is this could have almost been Operation Protect the White Boy, but it would have been in the sense of how they titled it. But the consequences definitely were there. So we have this individual right here whose name is Noah Nay. Now, pay attention to how they titled this. This is something that I recently pointed out in a live stream that I did like 2 weeks ago, where they are talking about these degenerates and calling them baby-faced. Now, if y'all remember, I did a live stream a couple weeks ago where I was talking about 3 teenagers. It was 2 of them that was PC, and I think 1 was Asian, and they called them baby-faced too. They love calling these non-black teenagers baby-faced after they done something very violent. So we have this individual right here whose name is Noah Nay. I believe he's 16, and he got 50 years in prison for a gang-initiated drive-by shooting that seriously wounded a 5-year-old girl. Larry Elder, since you want to talk about fatherlessness all the time, what you got to say about this? I wonder, did this man grow up in a single-parent household, or did he grow up with his dad in his life? I'm just curious. A troubled 16-year-old, give me a break. A troubled 16-year-old? No, let's call him what he is. A thug who happens to be 16 from Oklahoma, whose long rap sheet belies his baby face mugshot. The way that they frame this. has been sentenced to 50 years for a gang initiation drive-by shooting that seriously wounded a 5-year-old girl playing in her home. Noah Nay, aka Baby Groove and Baby Blood, fired a gun from a stolen SUV and nearly killed the little girl as a part of his initiation into the Favre Hoover Crips gang. I'm just trying to figure out his name. He called his one of his names was Baby Blood, and he's joining the Crips. I'm trying to figure out how does that compute. Can someone help me out, please? So Tawana said he was 14, and they're just now giving him the sentence. Okay, so he was 14 when he did it. The girl was hit in the neck and left shoulder, but if the bullet had hit a few inches in another direction, it would have been murder. Nay was charged as an adult. At his sentencing, prosecutors summarized Nay's numerous run-ins with law enforcement and his bad behavior in a juvenile justice center, including an escape from a rec yard. Nay's attorney said his conduct stemmed from an unstable upbringing. The boy's mother and father, there it is, y'all. There it is. So he grew up with both of his parents, but both his parents was about that life too. Larry Elder, Larry, not my elder. Where are you? The boy's mother and father have criminal histories. Court documents said his middle school assistant principal testified to his fighting, defiance, and disruptive behavior at school, which led to multiple suspensions. The same thing I said, X-rated Wallow. Please help me out with this. He had several opportunities. I have treatment records in a packet that is thicker than a dictionary that show treatment attempts that he rejected by escaping or assaulting staff that was there to help him get treatment. You know what? Maybe they need to clip some of his hair in the back, like clip some of them down and shave the back of his head a little bit, because the way that this thing is reading, I'm convinced he might be the spawn of Damian Thorne. There might be 3 6s in a circle in the back of his head. His public defender, Ivan Orndorff, told Long Crime in an email the case has been long and taxing for everyone. Though our system is not perfect, what makes our system unique is the right to due process, presumption of innocence, and zealous representation, he wrote. Protecting the rights of the accused and defending them is the most important when they are unpopular or the crimes alleged are most serious. This serves to protect us all. In his closing argument, Orndorff asked the court to review his sentence in 5 years and consider reducing it if he demonstrates rehabilitation. Well, with the way this is laying out, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's happening. We had hoped for the top end of the sentence to be lower, though we do appreciate that there's an opportunity for this to be reduced in 5 years. That's a lot of hope you have. Court documents outline Nay's criminal history, including malicious injury, destruction of property, joyriding and obstructing an officer, robbery with a firearm, probation violation, disturbing the police, and assault and battery on an employee of a facility for delinquent children. When evaluated for being charged as an adult, he appeared to know the difference between right and wrong. He was described as having a sophisticated knowledge of gang operations and involvement. Authorities noted that a report by a juvenile justice worker failed to mention gangs and his involvement in them, even though the boy had been certified by the Tulsa Police Department as a member of the Favre Hoover Crips gang. And there we go. B1 to you, Sage. There we go. Now, this story was posted October 27, 2023. It is now November 3rd. And for many of you, this is your first time hearing about it. I bet you if this kid was black, one, they wouldn't call him baby-faced. That's number one. And two, this probably would have been all over the news. But yep, there you go. Wow. I don't think I have anything else left to say about that, y'all. Except that's going to bring this week's live stream to a close. That was the last story that I had for y'all today. For those of y'all who missed it, y'all can catch the playback. Shout out to everybody who came through. Shout out to the people who hit this the dono, the super chat. Shout out to Val, Carla, and Denise, and shout out to the individual who sent me the Cash App. I will be back on here tomorrow with the video at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm gonna put the premiere window up when I get off of here, and make sure y'all go ahead and hit that notification button to be notified if you're in the Discord. Y'all are good. Shout out to all of my patrons over there on Patreon. Shout out to all of the members here on YouTube as well as all of my supporters on various social media platforms. Y'all enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy your weekend, and I will be back to talk to y'all tomorrow. Be safe and be one.